on behalf of us. The same organizations that we talked about earlier, like Action Aid, EB's Africa Contact, the Anida Refugee Council, and so forth, are called to Parliament to make presentations with regards to African issues. But as a diasporan community, we have not.
Okay. So what we want, part of the reasons of these workshops is to have the skills and know what to do. And this is partly what you need to be thinking of, a smart plan, a short one for Thursday. You would want in 1 year, 2 years' time to be able to go into Parliament and giving evidence yourselves on this matter rather than Danida or DRC speaking on your behalf. In the UK, the first time we went to give evidence on a major matter of policy was 2003 or 2002. Yeah? The first time we got an input, I'll tell you just this anecdote. I think it may be relevant here. We had Department for International Development in the UK was set up in 1997 when a new government came, new Labour, and they had to develop their new policy. For us, that was the starting point for my diaspora and development to take off, because we had one minor success. Minor in terms of the volume of things, but the impact was big. We were able to convince the civil servants who were writing the policy to put in half a sentence saying that when they are dealing with international development, they would contact and engage with the minority communities in the UK. At the time, we suggested they use diaspora. They didn't understand what diaspora was. So we accepted minority ethnic community. That was half a line on page 68 of the entire document. When they settled in, we went back and said, now what do we do about diaspora policy? They said, what? Diaspora policy? We don't have any. I said to them, you have funding. They said, where? I said on page 68. They didn't even know it was there. Because in a document that's several hundred pages long, they didn't know. But all I needed is half a line. Of course, we got our policy in, but we were able to show them how they can work with us in a manner that was not painful to them. So we were helping them to help us. But the relevance of that story is you need to know the process, the game, how to play it, the consultation process. So what does it take for your organization or you as experts to be in a position whereby you won't even ask to be called to give evidence? They will call you. Not only they will, but they will want to call you. So what does it take? That's the level of the challenge. Why would they want to call you? And if you get yourself into that position, then it becomes easier. Another analogy to that story is, you may notice, you must excuse me, most of my examples are in the UK because that's where I know. But in the 1960s, you had a lot of Commonwealth and Indian doctors coming to work in the UK. Up to today, we have lots of Indian doctors because there was a shortage of doctors. In the beginning, some of the local patients were racist and said, we don't want an Indian or a black doctor to touch us. They want a white doctor. But now the reality is black and Indian doctors sort of became almost predominant in many areas. Because the bottom line is easy. People love their lives more than they hate us. It's not that they don't hate us. They perhaps still hate us, but they love their lives more. So if that's balanced. So how do I put myself in a position whereby they would call me to give evidence at Parliament? Doesn't mean they love me, but they really need to hear from me. That's the kind of analogy. Yeah, so become